Hi gang, this is Perry. Just wanted to give you guys a little idea of how we're doing here anyway. So I'd show you some pictures from our backyard here next to the garden. That there is probably one of the highest points we have around here. Part of the low coast range. That's only about probably 500-600 feet high. There used to be a forest fire tower up there. Very lush here. Almost when you get out in the brush around here, you can see how thick it is just around our house. And we have to be constantly cutting the vegetation back. You know, by the way, that particular little mountain there is called Euchre Mountain. Give you kind of a different view from a different angle on this property we got here. Here we go. But this is our little corner of the world. Those birdhouses to the right are the neighbors. But straight away down from that fence line is about 10 feet the other side to those trees right there, those plum trees, is on our property. I'm going to be putting in some more fruit trees and some nut trees and use that area kind of like the little orchard spot. And this is our garden. Got a lot of squash coming on. These are our squash plants here and pumpkin. Still trying to get used to this camera, so bear with me, if you would. I'm going to walk over this way. Trying to show you some of the plants that are really going nuts now. I get probably on the average of about 10 zucchini off of these plants every day. It seems like they just show up overnight. We finally got some cucumbers coming on. Plants are looking just a little bit on the weak side, though. They aren't well developed cucumber plants, but they're starting to produce a few cucumbers finally. And just starting. Got one right down there. Kind of small, but they're starting to come back. We had to redo I just threw these out there as far as seeds into a patch, more or less, for radishes. Our other radishes, and along with some other root vegetables, were all just decimated by our ant population here in the ground. So we finally got those pretty much under control now. Getting a lot of peppers. These last three plants are the green peppers. And we got some jalapenos, and we got some, what do they call these guys? Banana. They're the hot yellow banana peppers on there coming on. Flowering's just about done for the potatoes, and they'll start dying off here shortly. Been getting a lot of peas and green beans off the garden. About every other day we gotta pick them. They grow pretty fast. Over here we're right up next to the house. This was all well overgrown. We're gonna open this area up through this area. Make things a little more accessible. And I can see out better. All this was obstructing our view from being in the house. Make sure we got those clear fields. Be able to snake a bullet out through there if we need to. Garlic. Onions did not do well. I don't know why. We bought onion sets this year, so next year I think we're going to go and plant early the seed and raise them in the hothouse. We got some good sized cabbages heads forming. That's a pretty good sized one right there. Yeah, there you go. Give you a little better look at the head there. But they're already starting to form up now. We got some green cabbages that are starting to make some pretty good head now. About the size of a good softball there. Some of our yellow squash plants. Some more tomato plants mixed in there. Now that was our mystery row that we planted in here that we lost track of what was what as far as squash and whatnot. The squash that Nancy took a picture of and posted, it's a hybrid zucchini actually, and quite good actually. We ate some and there's no difference in the taste other than the fact that they're round. So we're saving some of the seeds off of that also to try this next year. We're going to have a lot of cabbage. We're right in the middle of getting it all weeded out again. The grass and everything grows so fast here. The soil is good soil. We might have to pick some of these yellow squash today. They're getting up there where we can mix some more together. I like mixed vegetables. You can see those in there. There's one. There's more of them back in there. They're doing pretty good. And like I say, we got a lot of them in here. They're just coming on good too. We pull some off here every few days. They're not quite as fast growing as a regular zucchini. We didn't put up high enough wire this year for our peas, so they're kind of bent over the first level of wire that's only about 3.5 feet high or so. But we're pulling peas off there just about every day now. And our bush green beans, we got two different kinds. We got the wax green beans and I picked The green beans yesterday, we canned those up last night. I try to pick them down to the size of where I don't have to pick them every day. About every third day we'll be out here getting green beans off of there. And lots of peas. Lots of peas. When we put our raspberries in, they didn't have very good root on them. I got them from my sister's place on the other side of town here. But also being the wrong time of year to actually be planting them, I'm surprised that most of them have survived. As long as there's a little green on them, they're still living. A couple of them we're going to lose. That's just the way it goes anyway. But we got to get back in here and weed this area out. We've been so busy just canning and stuff lately. That's only about a week or so's worth of growth in there of grass and stuff. And then I finally got this re-rig for the grape arbor. Took the that lattice kind of material that we had it on there. They've grown so fast this year and so big that we sunk these poles. They're 8-foot poles, about 2 feet in the ground, one on each end, and then strung some small electric fence wire about a foot apart on these guys, and then rewove them up between the wires and tied them off loosely until they can get their. Now remember, grapes are vines, so they have those little arms that go out there kind of like string beans, and they attach to whatever. And so we had to kind of be real careful, unwind those and get them back up on the wire, and they'll start reattaching themselves. You can see what I'm talking about right there with those little attachments there. They just are like strings, and they'll reattach themselves to the wire and continue climbing. This is some of our neighbors' foliage trees there. I'm going to have to cut some of their stuff back so we can keep it out of our plum trees here. That's one of the reasons why we're having so much shade and the ability for the moss to grow, because the trees don't ever get a chance to dry out. Thus, moss forms. So I'm just waiting. Plums are coming on. They're a real small plum. I believe I've told you this before. We've got like 3 different kinds of plums here. So these guys get. Oh, there's one coming on right there. You can see him there. And we got a couple of. Now these are only about the size of a oversized maybe marble or so, but they'll get a little bit bigger. But in past years, when you didn't have this problem with the moss and everything, they would be hanging on here almost in like clusters, like grapes. But most of the moss here is actually dead. It just doesn't just drop off the trees though, so I've got to work on it yet. These plums are really juicy and sweet. Good for making plum bread, things like that. Or plum wine. I just want to kind of give you an update of this week. Show you how things are going here. Here's some peas. A lot of peas on here. We end up picking these just about every other day. Love these little guys, especially frozen in the winter when you know they're still just like out of the garden, sweet, juicy. And I've been kind of laid up the last few days. Pretty sore. Just getting old, and old injuries just kind of creep up on you. But this is also the area right next to the house that we're cleaning out and around. And I guess that's about it for today. It gives you kind of an idea where we're at now. Took a big honeysuckle arbor out of here. I don't know if you can remember from the last few videos where I've shown there used to be an archway here for the honeysuckles, which blocked all that window area there. And we still have some trimming and cleaning up to do in here. The arbor was broken down pretty much. Kind of like this arbor here. This is also honeysuckle. And we have to basically tie it up to keep it from collapsing. But its time is just about fulfilled its usefulness too. All this lattice fencing stuff is going to be taken out of there. Going to transport, or actually transplant, I mean, some of these fir trees here we have in the picnic area. There's my Old Glory. Most of the area here, except for the far end of the place, over by those plum trees, is pretty much foliage protected. I mean, we're kind of secluded back in here. And we'll be putting a fence in back there in that area too, here shortly. We only do a little bit at a time, but we'll get there. So, until next time, this is Perry. Remember, drop in at patrioticspace.com. We have a lot of information there and helps for gardening and all kinds of food preparation and survival techniques for growing vegetables and things like that will help feed you. So, you folks have a good day. Talk to you again soon. Bye now.